Think of the last time a song gave you chills, or a memory made the hair on your arm stand up out of nowhere. That's not just a feeling. That's a 2 million-year-old survival mechanism, misfiring inside a body that no longer needs it. Let's start with what's actually happening under your skin. Every single hair on your body is attached to a tiny muscle called the erector pili. When that muscle contracts, it pulls the hair upright and puckers the skin around it into a small bump. Doctors have a name for this: cutis anserina, goose skin. You know it as goosebumps. The name isn't an accident. Pluck a goose or any bird and the skin underneath does something almost identical. Small raised bumps where each feather used to sit, each one puckered up around the follicle, the same way yours does around a hair. Whoever named this reflex was looking at the exact same mechanism in two completely different animals, one covered in feathers, one covered in hair, and notice they left behind the same signature. Here's the part that should feel strange the moment you think about it. You have this reflex. Every mammal has this reflex. Cats have it, dogs have it, horses have it, and for almost every one of them, it still does exactly what it evolved to do. For you, it does nothing. In animals with a full coat of fur, raising the hair traps a thicker layer of air against the skin. That air acts as insulation, the same way a down jacket works, and it makes a cold animal warmer almost instantly. Your ancestors had this same advantage back when they were covered in body hair, but somewhere around 1 million years ago, humans lost most of that fur, likely to cool down faster while running and hunting under the African sun. The fur disappeared. The reflex that used to work with it did not. Right now, when you're cold, your erector pili muscles are still trying to fluff up hair that isn't thick enough to trap anything. You're running the exact same subroutine your ancestors ran to survive the cold. It's just connected to hardware that got removed a long time ago, but cold is only one trigger, and this is where it gets stranger. In 1872, Charles Darwin wrote about this exact puzzle in his book, The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Animals. He noticed that goosebumps didn't just show up from cold, they showed up during fear, during music, during moments of intense emotion that had nothing to do with temperature at all. Darwin didn't have an explanation. He just documented that one physical reflex was somehow wired to at least two completely unrelated systems in the body. Let's take the fear version first, because that one has a fairly clean evolutionary story behind it. Watch a frightened cat. Its fur puffs out across its entire body, and it suddenly looks almost twice its normal size. This is called piloerection, and in animals with fur, it's a threat display. Bigger looking, more dangerous looking, harder to attack. Porcupines take this further. When threatened, they raise their quills using this exact same muscle mechanism, turning a passive animal into something that looks actively armed. Your ancestors had this too. A rush of fear triggered the same fur-fluffing response, making an already tense, aggressive-postured human look bigger and more threatening to whatever was stalking them. It was a real defense mechanism. It worked. Now you get scared and the same reflex fires. Your erector pili muscles contract exactly the way they would have 1 million years ago, but there's no fur to raise. There's no bigger, scarier silhouette forming. Your body still runs the code. The output just does nothing anymore. So cold and fear both make sense. But that still doesn't explain the music. Why would a song make the hair on your arm stand up? In 2001, neuroscientists Ann Blood and Robert Zatora ran a study that got closer to an answer than anyone had before. They played music that reliably gave listeners chills, the kind of swelling, peak emotional moment in a song that makes your skin prickle, and scanned their brains while it happened. The results surprised even the researchers. What they found was that these musical chills activated the same brain regions involved in the pleasure response to food, sex, and drugs. Specifically, the nucleus accumbens, a region soaked in dopamine, lit up at the exact moment listeners reported chills. Your body was treating a swelling cord change like it treated a genuine survival reward. Later research went even further. A 2016 study by Matthew Sachs, Asal Habibi, and colleagues at USC found that people who reliably get chills from music actually have measurably different brains. Their auditory cortex, the part that processes sound, has denser physical connections to the regions responsible for emotional processing. In these people, sound and emotion are, quite literally, more tightly wired together. Not everyone gets this response. Studies estimate that somewhere between 55 and 86% of people experience frisson, the technical term for music-induced chills, at least occasionally. And people who score high on a personality trait called openness to experience report significantly more frequent chills than people who don't. So here's the strange unifying picture. Cold triggers a survival mechanism your body no longer needs. Fear triggers a threat display your body can no longer perform. And music somehow hijacks the exact same physical reflex to mark a moment your brain has decided matters. That third one might be the strangest of all, because there's no obvious evolutionary reason your body should physically react to a chord progression the same way it reacts to a predator or a snowstorm. Some researchers think it's connected to a broader function. Goosebumps may act as your body's way of physically flagging significance, a signal running through ancient hardware that says, "Pay attention, this matters, remember this." That would explain why people report chills during a wide range of moments that share almost nothing in common except intensity. Watching a crowd sing in unison, standing somewhere genuinely awe-inspiring, remembering someone who has died, hearing a stranger say something that lands exactly right. None of these are cold, none of these are threats. But your skin reacts to all of them using the exact same muscle, the exact same reflex, the exact same 2 million-year-old wiring. This is different from another phenomenon you've probably also felt. ASMR, the tingling, relaxing sensation some people get from whispering voices or slow, repetitive sounds, often gets lumped in with frisson, but researchers who study both say they're not quite the same thing. Frisson tends to be sudden, tied to a specific emotional peak, and it fades fast. ASMR tends to build slowly and feels more like sustained relaxation than a single spike. Both apparently ride on your nervous system's ability to physically respond to something with no practical survival use at all. Your body seems to have more than one ancient reflex, willing to fire for reasons that have nothing to do with cold or danger. This is one of the only places in your entire body where you can physically watch your nervous system respond to something you can't control with your conscious mind at all. You can't goosebump yourself on command the way you can clench a fist. The reflex runs on your sympathetic nervous system, the same network responsible for your heart rate spiking and your palms sweating, systems built to react faster than conscious thought ever could. So the next time the hair on your arm stands up during a song, or a memory, or a story that hits harder than you expected, you're not imagining that something real just happened. Your body is running one of the oldest reflexes it has, built originally for warmth, then repurposed for fear, then somehow repurposed again for meaning itself. The fur is gone. The muscle never got the message. And every time it fires for no practical reason at all, it's proof that some part of you is still quietly reacting to the world the way something built 1 million years ago would. You will never consciously decide to feel that prickle across your arms. You will never train it away, and you will never fully explain to yourself why one specific moment triggered it and 1,000 similar moments didn't. That unpredictability might be the most honest part of the whole reflex. It was never meant to be controlled. It was meant to fire on its own, faster than thought, the same way it has for every version of you that ever lived before this one.